Welp, goodness gracious folks, we finally received some PvE news and just substantial news in general in regard to Overwatch 2, and now that we've finally gotten the news, it turns out it's kind of awful. So I'll try to talk about it quickly and try not to waste your time, but no promises. Please remember to like the video if you do in fact like the video, and please subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's get into it. Alright, now yesterday we got an Overwatch dev chat or dev update or whatever, which was about an hour long, but what we're here to talk about was only about 10 to 12 minutes of it at the end. This is when Overwatch 2's game director Aaron Keller and the executive producer Jared Noose started talking about the future of Overwatch 2. And all of these updates and talks of the future came with an all new content roadmap, which I'll put up on the screen a little bit later in the video, because the most important part of all of this came before the roadmap was shown, when the devs, Aaron and Jared, in so many words, basically explained how they've completely gutted the original PvE plans for Overwatch 2. Plans that they showed in 2019, plans that were the justification for Overwatch 2 existing in the first place, plans that were supposed to eventually justify the 2-year-long halt in Overwatch content. Yes, those plans are no longer. Now, if you don't remember, because this was a long time ago, Overwatch 2's PvE was planned to have skill trees, hero talents, and individual progression for each hero, as well as tons of replayable co-op missions as an incentive to work through all of that character progression. And all of this was to take place on the standalone Overwatch 2 PvE game client, which would be separate from the PvP. This is no longer the case and no longer the plan. It has now instead been stripped down to a bare minimum and shrunken into what will manifest itself as a small canonical PvE story mission that pops up every so often or something like that. Not unlike the Junkenstein's Revenge events. So to be clear, the Overwatch 2 PvE is not canceled like so many people are saying, but it's not that much of a stretch because the PvE has in fact been drastically downsized. Now listen, I really like Overwatch. It's one of my favorite competitive multiplayer games, Overwatch and Wild Rift probably. But me liking the game makes this gutting of content and the perpetual mess of a state that Overwatch 2 has been in since launch that much more painful. The devs all but stopped supporting Overwatch, and when we asked why, they said it was so that they could cook up a bigger and better version, only for them to pop back up 2 years later with a very mild graphical update, new hero defaults that basically amount to skins, and a switch to 5v5 that could have been achieved with a patch during their absent 2 years. But still promising that those bigger and better things are coming, only for another year to go by and them to now tell us those bigger things are canceled. And so how can any of us be blamed for wondering, then what the fuck was it all for? What the fuck was the point of the 2-year deficit? What was the point of the disastrous switch to Overwatch 2 that they're still trying to recover from? And I understand that the internals of the Overwatch team and Blizzard have been on fire for quite some time now, but that's all the more reason why some ambitious shift to a seemingly pointless sequel that you can't even deliver on was a bad idea. And this really sucks because it just proves that all the major pitfalls of Overwatch were completely and easily avoidable. And it's not like everything or every update has been bad since Overwatch 2. In fact, I honestly think most updates and changes since the initial launch of Overwatch 2 have been positive, and Blizzard has done a good job of steering the game in a positive direction and reacting to player feedback. Actually, they probably listen to player feedback a little too much, but the point is, all of those positive updates and changes feel lesser because of the deep fucking pit that Overwatch originally dug itself into and Overwatch 2 started off in. Overwatch 2 is still trying to break even to get back where it was. And not in terms of player numbers or popularity, fuck that. In terms of the quality of the game. they still haven't quite broken even yet. So most of the positive changes we've received just feel like things we should have had years ago and are now confirmed to be just that with this new announcement that the PvE we were promised has been miniaturized and broken up into pieces. However, on a slightly more positive note, I do commend them for just saying we can't do it, just openly admitting we can't fucking do what we said we were gonna do. We can't deliver on it, our bad, but we'll try to salvage it into something. You know, sometimes you do need to know when to throw in the fucking towel, although from a player perspective, that doesn't make this any better, you know? I only hope with their priorities reshifted, this means we can get back on track at least with a more clear-cut and feasible idea as to what they want their content drops to look like. I hope we reach that point of breaking even and then continue firmly into the green more quickly. That's all I can do is hope. But okay. That's that. Let's stop looking at what we aren't getting and take a look at what we are getting. Unless all of this turns out to be a lie too. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done. Anyway, let's take a look at the roadmap. So here it is. And it starts where you'd expect with the next season, Season 5. And right at the top, we see Quest Watch as a limited time event, which I'm assuming will be similar in implementation to the current Star Watch event, and likely even has its own non-canonical lore attached to it. In fact, I think they might have confirmed that. Because if you haven't noticed with this whole Star Watch thing, Overwatch seems to be doing their best Riot Games impression, where they create non-canonical universes with their existing characters, but those universes are persistent and contain their own lore. Like the League of Legends Star Guardian skin line, or High Noon skins, or KDA, all that sort of thing. I think it's cool that Overwatch seems to be doing that now, and I think it's a smart thing to mimic. And so I assume that this Quest Watch will be yet another non-canonical Overwatch universe. Now, underneath Quest Watch, we have Mischief and Magic, and I'm honestly not too sure, but I think this might be the theme of the season, or the season title or something. I'm not sure. Between Mischief and Magic and Quest Watch and the concept image we're given, this appears to be a medieval themed season, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some Warcraft influence in there. After that, we're getting a cinematic reveal and the return of the Summer Games event. For the cinematic image, I think that's Sojourn's dog, Murphy, and the cinematic itself will probably be a story-based cinematic leading up to the story missions of the next season. That's just me guessing, or maybe that image is not representative of the actual cinematic we'll see, and it'll be a cinematic focus completely on the Season 6 hero. Or maybe both, who knows? Maybe, it'll be story-driven, but the Season 6 hero will make a debut in it. That actually sounds pretty likely now that I say it. Anyway, that's just me guessing. But yeah, like I said, Summer Games event is also coming back, so we'll probably get some new summer-themed skins. I'm sure they'll resell us that Farah lifeguard skin they removed, but it'll be a $30 bundle or some shit. And we'll probably get Lucio Ball again, which is like Rocket League, but you're all Lucio instead of cars, if you didn't know. And way down at the bottom of Season 5, we see something that I'm weirdly excited about: the return of being on fire. On fire just disappeared for no reason, and it was so strange, and the characters still say that they're on fire, but you don't get the little flame graphic anymore. It's so weird, so pointless to remove. Just one of those things that got destroyed in the initial Overwatch pitfall. Anyway, let's move on to Season 6, where we will see the introduction of story missions. These will be the remnants of what was once going to be the full-fledged PvE. So, as cool as it might be, it'll be bittersweet playing them, but yes, these story missions will be co-op missions that progress the canonical lore of Overwatch. So it is exciting, even if at its core it's built on disappointment. Then of course we will get the new hero in Season 6, who will also be a support. We've known that for a long time now, and it just makes sense because the supports have been neglected for a really long time. There's 2 million damage heroes, and there was like fucking 2.5 supports for a really long time. So, good to see them trying to rectify that. Anyway, after that, there will be an all new core game mode in Season 6 called Flashpoint, similar to how we got the push game mode at the launch of Overwatch 2. So that should be exciting. And there will be Hero Mastery, which sounds interesting. I'm interested to see exactly how that's implemented. And other than that, Season 6 will get changes to the firing range and player progression, as well as the Overwatch Anniversary event. And now we can move on to the great beyond, that is to say things that will come Season 7 or later. Of course, the new tank hero, although I don't know why they put that at the top. Presumably that hero would come out during Season 8, but I'd love to be surprised. But it's more likely that these Season 7 or later things are just not listed chronologically. But anyway, there will also be a new collaboration event like the One Punch Man collab, but this one will come with a limited time mode, so that should be a fun time. Anyway, then there's a new control map, new winter event, new hero mastery missions, and then we arrive at a Roadhog rework. And this just makes sense. Roadhog is a severely underpowered tank currently, if you ask me. If it's not a map where you can just hook people off the cliff, then there is very little incentive to be Roadhog. But anyway, after that, it says fan favorite modes return. Yippee, I guess. I don't know. More cinematics. Then they're bringing back competitive mystery heroes and a lore codex, which is cool. I assume this will be in-game and not some external website, but this will be cool to just be able to quickly refer to get the basic background of a hero and or event or whatever in the lore. So yeah, that should be cool. But lastly, we have a Sombra rework. And again, this just makes sense. Thank God this is coming, actually. This character makes no fucking sense. The logic of her kit is non-existent. A character who not only can be completely and truly invisible, she can silence your abilities while invisible, simultaneously putting a damage multiplier on you, almost guaranteeing her a kill against several matchups. And don't worry, if she fails, she has a teleporter, which serves as a get-out-of-jail-free card, allowing her to try again with very little hope of you tracking her down. She's an absolute mess of a character. Can't wait for those changes. But yeah, that was everything. Overall, the whole little dev chat had some disappointment in there and some stuff to be excited about. I'd love to implore you to get excited about the future of Overwatch, but I'm not sure that's the right course of action right now. Instead, let's just remain cautious and hope for the best. At the end of the day, if Overwatch dies, it'll be unfortunate, but we'll just play something else as these things go. Anyway, sorry for wasting so much of your time. If you enjoyed this or just can't get enough of my lovely commentary, please subscribe. It really does mean a lot. But until next time, I am Waifu Collector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and best of luck to Overwatch 2. Goodbye.